Hey guys, welcome back to The Life with Z. I am Z and you are here in this wonderful space where we talk about all things money, life, personal development, work, hustle, and all that good stuff. So today I am going to be talking about how to step your money game up, how to negotiate with these brands, how to start making money with your work as a creative, as an influencer. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, then hey, give us a thumbs up and stick around and let's get to it. Let's get to it. I'm sorry guys, I'm not quite sure what happened, but I think I'm back. So I figured I would share some of the things that helped me as an influencer whenever I needed to negotiate with brands. I mean, I have a manager who I have worked with who is, practically a family member as well. But I've worked with Amy for so long, and I've always been very involved and very hands-on in my business and my, as a creative, as an actress. So, how we used to do it is that sometimes I would essentially start the conversation and then I would pass it over to him, or, there'd be times when I would take it from start to finish because I felt like I wanted to, or I felt like I could handle it. Granted, there are some periods where I'm like, I don't want to have to deal with this situation because I feel like if I do in my natural state, I would be painted as either somebody who is difficult simply because I want to be paid my worth, and I just didn't want to have that argument and that conversation with people. So sometimes I would just let Amy be the bad guy. But yeah, he's pretty good at being the bad guy. So if you do have a manager, that's a great way for you to be able to negotiate with brands. It does create this element of mystery. I mean, I know that some people say that it's not sexy for you to sell yourself, but I think as an influencer, as a certain grade creative, there's a point where you can sell yourself, and that's okay. If you're smart and intelligent and you know what you're saying, that it works perfectly. So if you're a micro influencer, a medium, whatever, these are some things that you can definitely take on board to help you sell yourself to brands and make money with your work, because your property, your intellectual property, your creativity, please monetize it. Don't let anybody tell you that, oh, don't, be careful. We don't care about that. We care about the coins. But one of the first things that I feel like is always important when it comes to negotiating with brands is knowing the brand that you're talking to, doing your research, knowing what they're about, knowing the people that they've worked with before and the people that they want to work with now, and the reason why they want to work with you. So doing your research will allow you to position yourself in such a way where you're showing them that you're knowledgeable and you're interested, and it will just be a lot more welcoming than being having to talk to someone who has no clue about the brand, what the brand stands for, or the kind of direction that the brand wants to go in, because you need to be able to tie that into your content, and you need to be able to show them that you know how to do both. So knowing the brand allows you to gauge and know what their pocket is like. If you're dealing with an international brand, right? So say, and the brands that I'm mentioning in this video, this is not paid by any means, I'm just giving examples. So say, for example, if you had a Johnson & Johnson, we all know that Johnson & Johnson's have money. Yeah. So you can already position your head, not to say you go to Johnson & Johnson and ask for like $5 million, right? But you sort of know that if they were to come to you with one couple, that one couple cannot work because their pocket is bigger. So that's why I say get to know the brand. If you are then approached by a lower brand as well that is in that sort of category of brands, then you know that, okay, this is an upcoming brand, or they've been around for 2 years, so they may not necessarily have the same budget as Johnson & Johnson's, but there might be something here. Are you with me? Cool. So while you know the brand and you do your research and you know what they're worth and you know what their pocket can handle as well, in the process of doing that, I will also say, try and understand whether or not this brand is coming to you as themselves or they're coming through as an agency. So sometimes brands employ either digital agencies or creative agencies to sort of handle the marketing and communication and things that they don't want to have to deal with. So they will employ an agency and say, hey, we want X amount of influencers, you guys know how to get them, go and speak to them, this is our budget, make it happen. So agencies are a good way for you to connect with people and connect with a pool of those who already have access to these brands. So if you don't want to have to email a Johnson & Johnson directly, you can email the agency and kind of have a feel around and see what's happening. However, sometimes, I'm going to touch on this. Sometimes when it comes to I'm going to speak about Nigeria, I'm not going to speak about West Africa. I've had instances where, or you know, I've been familiar with instances where you have a big global brand that employs a Nigerian agency, or a Nigerian agency in most parts, to handle their communications and marketing work. And this isn't for all of them, because I know some agencies that are absolutely amazing. I have friends who are, you know, who have built agencies from scratch that are fantastic. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about people who then come on and literally squeeze dry. So these are people who will come and tell you that, oh, we only have 10K, but we want 1 million naira worth of work. And then on top of that 1 million naira, you need to give us a 5% commission. Yes, there are some agencies who do this as a means for them to make a little bit of cash, or for the agency to make or the agent, should I say, to make a little bit of cash anywhere else in the world, right? When you're dealing with an agent that represents a brand, right? What the brand says is on paper that they have to give you is what you're gonna get, because there are certain that the value for creativity and the value for intellectual property and content outside of Nigeria is greater. They understand it. That's why, you know, you see a lot of influencers and bloggers being able to buy houses and buy cars and, you know, live lives that look absolutely amazing, but they put in that work, and they work with agencies and brands that understand the value of their work, and so it pretty much reflects in what they're being paid. So over here it's not exactly the same, because sometimes you do have people, it's like that Niger thing that we have a habit of doing, maybe just spoil something. Like, nobody asked you to put anything inside the soup, but you decided to go and put something inside, and now you spoiled it. So be aware of that when you're negotiating with certain agencies and certain brands. When it comes down to the actual negotiation period, right, the first question that I like to get out of the way, and I do it here more so than I do anywhere else or any other kind of negotiating that, you know, that I have to do, and that is, what is your budget? Because I don't want people to waste my time. And sometimes in Nigeria, when we talk, we talk like this before we reach the middle of what it is we want to say. And because I don't have that time, I would rather know what is in your pocket, so we can start there. If you say you only have, you know, 50K in your pocket, I can tell you that's not going to work. And I can say, hey, you know, thank you for thinking about me, but maybe next time we'll be able to work together. You're also having an understanding of the value of your work, right? If you are an influencer, you take pictures. Do you take pictures on your phone? Do you use a photographer? These are the things that you need to build into your fee that you're going to be billing these guys for. There's no point in taking 50,000 naira if you know that you're going to spend 100K getting clothes, doing makeup, renting a location, getting a photographer, and you're not going to make anything. So these are the little things that you need to itemize into your fee that you're going to present to the brand. Once you start talking and you're going back and forth, there are some, I always believe that there is room to push. You know, never take the first offer that is given to you. Always push. Even if it's by 5K or 10K that they move up, always push, because you need them to understand that you demand more, your brand represents more. Even if you have 10,000 followers, it does not matter. Always push for more. I also want to remind you guys that it doesn't matter whether or not you have 200,000 followers versus 10,000 followers. There are some influencers who have 20,000 followers that are buying houses, and then there are those who have 1 million followers and they're not, it's just not the same, right? Or you know, their level of engagement is not the same. And bear in mind that some brands are just not looking for numbers. What's the back end, right? So how many impressions are you getting? How many and engagements are you getting? What's your reach? You know, what's your reach in 5 days or a month? Those are the kind of things that are important. What your conversion rate is, because bear in mind that there are a lot of influencers who have lots of followers but they don't have conversion. And when I talk about conversion, I mean, you know, what's your ability to make that person who watches, you know, your video, or who takes a look at your picture from their home in Asaba and sees that nice skirt that you have, what's the rate that gets them to say, I'm gonna call that little fashion boutique that she just mentioned and she tagged, and I'm gonna order that same skirt? How many people are doing that? That is when you know you have a super strong brand. There are some people that, you know, that I've met who I think have an amazing strong conversion rate, but there are people who have amazing strong likes rate, or, you know, reach rate. So you need to really work on your content, making sure that you're speaking to people that are connected to you, people who recognize you for what you are. If you're known for, you know, being a hair influencer, there's no point in you, you know, suddenly start to talk about, I don't know, like car parts everybody's going to be confused because they're following you because of your hair. So make sure that you are tailoring your content to that as well, because these are the things that brands are looking for when they're looking at partnership. The other thing that I want to mention when you're negotiating with brands on your fee is, you know, always be willing to maneuver. Know where your end mark is, right? Know where you are not going to accept something. If your flat rate fee is, say, if your fee is $250 and the lowest you can go is $200K, right? Be prepared to say, hey, when we get to $200K, you know, if you try and go below 200K, I can't do anything with you. I can't work with you. And that's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to walk away from money. But sometimes there's a psychology that comes with these things. There's a psychology that tells an agent or tells a brand that, oh, she's willing to not work with us for 200K. Maybe we can, you know, pull it out and find that extra 50K that she requires for her fee. These are just some of the little tactics. If you want to be that person that says, hey, I'm not quite ready to negotiate this stuff by myself, you can definitely do what a lot of us have done before. You can make up a fake manager. Believe me, there are so many creatives, so many artists, so many actors, so many people who have done it before. You have that one person, you give them a name, you create an email address, you have a number, and that person is a person that pretty much negotiates for you because they represent the person who will take no shit. But I always feel like it's important for you to be able to learn these skills, because, you know, these are skills that you can take with you and can apply to every aspect of your life. So, you know, those are just some of the things that I find very useful. Being aware of the deliverables, right? It's important for you to know what the brand is asking of you. You need to make sure you can deliver on those things, right? So if a brand says, I want you to constantly take pictures outside, then you need to figure out, can I actually do that? Do I have the right phone, the right camera? Who's going to help me take these pictures? Do I have a tripod? Those are the quick questions you'll ask yourself as to whether or not you're prepared to actually work with that brand. And it's important for you to deliver. I cannot stand creators or people who take on all the work and they don't deliver, because what they do is that they pretty much give everybody else a bad name. So if you have them booked to post 20 times in a month or 5 times in a month, you need to make sure you're sticking with that, because integrity is important as a creative. You know, so many people already feel like what we do is nonsense. We're singing, we're dancing, we're taking picture. So we don't want to give them any more excuses, or we don't want to feed into the ideology that being a creative is a waste of time, or, you know, it's just somebody who's fooling around. So if you have been booked to do something, make sure you keep to your deliverables. It's very simple. And when you do that, you create a lot of positive attraction to yourself, because people talk in this industry. Like, I kid you not, I've booked deals and booked gigs simply because somebody heard or saw that, you know, I was always on time on set, or somebody heard and saw that, you know, I was always professional. So people talk, right? If you are a difficult person to work with, they will talk about it. If you're a great person to work with, they will talk about it. So it's important for you to make sure that you are the best person, the best version of yourself. Doesn't matter what's going on. It's important for you to communicate. Don't be afraid to let brands know when something isn't working for you. Don't be shy. Last thing, this is one of the most important things that I feel like you need to know when you're negotiating with a brand, or when you pretty much sealed the deal with a brand as a creative or an influencer. Don't spend that money straight away. And the reason why I say this is, you never want to be in a position whereby, you know, God forbid something goes wrong, right? And you may have to reimburse the brand for something. You never want to be in a position where you've now took that money and that money is finished, and then they now say, oh please, we want to end the contract early, so we need you to give us back 20%. My dear, you don't want that. So please, I'm begging you, if you are working as a creative and you've been paid for a gig that lasts a certain number of months or a certain number of weeks, don't spend everything in one go. And, you know, I'm not saying that to you because I want you to prepare for the worst or whatever. You know, always be ready for great things to happen, but it's just great planning. It's great planning ahead, should in case something happens, should in case you know, the campaign finishes early or whatever. I really tried to get as many things as I can in this clip. There's so many to cover. Let me know if you enjoy it, if you want more tips, if you want more tips like this, if you want us to talk about it a little bit more, give it a thumbs up, ask your questions in the comment section. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this session with me. I hope you did. All right, I'll see you guys later. Peace, love, and all the above.